Good morning, guys. We are working on skew and box plots today. It's our second day of box plots, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys. Okay, so we're going to work on describing distributions today, and especially box plots. All right, but other distributions as well. Whenever we're describing distributions, there's an acronym that people remember: center, shape, spread. Okay, and those are the topics we need to discuss anytime that we're describing a distribution. If there is information that contains outliers, in a box plot there is, then we need to discuss that as well. So it's kind of like really four pieces. Sometimes when we see data that's not in a box plot, we really don't know if there's an outlier. So we might have something to say about that or not, but oftentimes we don't have to say anything about that. But always center, shape, spread. All right? Okay, for center, we either use the mean or the median. Now the mean is best for symmetric. Okay, the mean would be for really almost everything that's like our data displays usually. Like histogram, things like that will be estimating the mean. Median is used for skewed distributions, okay? But when we're describing distribution, when we see a box plot, the median is the one in the picture, it's not the mean, so we'll be talking about the median today as our center, okay? When I'm choosing to describe a distribution or how to measure it though, if I have a symmetric distribution, the mean is a better measure for that. It contains more information with the standard deviation, which we'll learn about later, okay? And the median is better for skewed distributions, and the reason being is that the median stays as a middle term, and we'll see this later again. And the mean gets pulled to the skew, wherever the skew is, in a non-symmetric distribution. All right, shape. We have terms such as unimodal, bimodal, multimodal. Those are things we cannot see in a box plot, so we'll see that when we get there. Other terms are symmetric, skewed left or skewed right. Okay, skewed left. That would be a distribution that looks like so. And what does this picture stand for? Well, if I were to do a dot plot of all the data, typically things fall fairly symmetrical. The average height of a man in the US, 5'10". Oh, there's a whole lot of guys around 5'10", and we get taller, there's less and less and less, and then we get really tall, there's less and less. And then as we get shorter than 5'10", there's less and less, as they get very short, get extremely short, there's very few people out there. That's a typical thing, and that allows us to do statistics when it has that shape. And that happens to be, fortunately for us, really common throughout the world. But there are ones that are skewed left. Now this was not intuitive to me when I first learned statistics. I would say, oh, everything's on the right. I wanted to say that was skewed to the right. But the skew is not where the material is. The skew is where it's not really. This means that everybody's over here and there's one outlier like way over here on the left. Okay, one very separate, that's skewed to the left. Skewed to the right will be stretched out on the right side. All right? We talk about spread. We usually talk about the range or the IQR, okay, or both of them. In a box plot, we have the range, and we also have the interquartile range, which is just another kind of range. So we talk about both those ranges. Okay, this distribution here, we have the two different qualities. This is unimodal, has one lump. It is also symmetric. Okay, these both have one lump. They're all unimodal. All right, and as we discussed here, all the materials over there, there's someone way out here on the low side. This would be skewed left, or skewed to the left if you wanted. This also is unimodal. And it would be skewed to the right. Okay. In a symmetric distribution, the mean and the median, they're both measured at the center, and they're approximately the same. They would both be there. Okay? But when I have a distribution that's skewed, the mean gets pulled to the skew, to the part that's sticking out, to the side with the most variation. All right? So in this case, my mean would be pulled over here. And the median would be over here. So the median would be larger than the mean would be smaller than the median there. All right? On this next one, it's skewed to the right. So the mean would be pulled to the skew, and the median would be smaller than the mean in that case. All right? Okay, coming down here. This is multimodal, or bimodal, or unimodal. None of these are one hump, so this has two, so that would be bimodal. And then these look pretty symmetric here, but it's stretched out there on the right. I would say it's skewed to the right. Okay, both these have more than two bumps, so we call them multimodal. Anything more than two. Both of these are multimodal. This one is symmetric, same on right and left. This guy over here looks to be skewed to the left. All right. Not so uncommon to have a bimodal and a multimodal. I don't know of too many instances that we had that. Pretty rare, I believe. Okay, box plots. We talked about these the other day. Learned how to graph them. We do a 5-number summary, which consists of the mean, quartile 1. Remember, that's the 25th percentile. The median, which is really the 50th percentile mark. Q3, 75th percentage place holder, and the max value. Okay, the IQR is the interquartile range, and that is Q3 minus Q1 is how we get that. The range is the max minus the min. Remember, the interquartile range is another type of range. It's just the max minus the min of that area, which is the box center box plot. And an outlier has to be more than 1.5 times the IQR above Q3 or below Q1. All right, let's go ahead and describe some distributions. Okay, here's our first one. All right, I start with the middle. And I don't have to be perfect, but I look at it from there to there and from there to there. Okay, it's not perfectly symmetric, okay, but it's fairly symmetric. Inside the box too, it's not that far off. Okay, and oftentimes you could say, like, it looks a little more stretched to the left, so someone might say that the interquartile range is slightly skewed to the left, okay, but we'd be okay here saying that this box plot is fairly symmetric. And I shouldn't start that way. Actually, I should be thinking, let me back up. I should be talking center, shape, spread. I'm on shape because we're talking about it, but let's talk about those different topics. Okay, you have to write it in a paragraph form, usually, okay? But these are the topics we're going to discuss. I'm ahead of myself there. Okay, since we know about outliers, we'll be discussing outliers here as well. Okay, center, our median, don't say it's like 11 or 12 because we don't really know. It looks a little more than 10. This would be 12 right here, so it looks to be a little under, like between 10 and 11. So I'm going to say the median, I wish I could write better. I'll just say between 10 and 11. Okay, that's all I need to say. Discuss the center. Oh, the median's around there. Shape. Again, we talked about that a minute ago here. I'm going to say overall it's fairly symmetric. There's not anything too wild going on. Finally, we talk about spread and outliers. So we're going to talk about the range. Bring this up a bit. looks like it goes from 2 to 20. 20 minus 2 would be 18. Okay, you're free to write that abbreviation of the IQR as well. Okay, so the range is 18, and the other range, the IQR. Now watch, don't say the IQR range, because this is the interquartile range. You already said range there. So the IQR goes from 6 to a little above 14. 14 minus 6 would be what, 8? It looks to be a little more than 8. I'm going to say approximately, say just slightly larger than 8, just something like that. It doesn't look to be exactly 8. Okay? So center shape spread, O outliers. There were no outliers here. You see that from our picture. If I could show it to you. There we go. There's what I'm looking for. Sorry, I had to fix that. Okay. Next one. Okay, center shape spread. I'll start over here. Okay, so the median is about 12 or 13. Any one of those would be fine. Okay, I don't know that it's 12.5. It looks to be about that. It looks right in the middle there. Okay. Okay, center. Next is shape. Okay, let's take a look at the shape. Okay, it is stretched out more that way. In the box, it's stretched out to the right. Remember that 25% lies in there. So that maybe, let's say it was 50 data values in there. There's 50 in there as well, but these are tight together. These are more stretched out. Okay. And if there were 100 pieces all together, that means there's 50 of them above the median and like 50 below. The right side is stretched out more in the IQR and the box. Those are consistent, so I would just say this is skewed to the right.